Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZZ.
Wobble thing that we're talking about real quick, Jeff. Hey, Robert.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Okay, so I just know what the quick little snippet, which was about 20 seconds, that I heard about on the news of moon wobble.
Yeah, well,
but the concept sounds terrifying.
Scary. Gravitational pull of the moon, making things shift. The ocean rising, massive flooding, that kind of thing. I mean, that's all I know. And I just heard like you, just a short. Somebody was actually talking about it, and I was like, "What?" I really didn't pay much attention, but yeah, that's scary. That's scary. I mean, like you said, we're thinking about stuff in the past. Man, you got to be thinking about that right away.
Now, what eases my mind a little bit about moon wobble is that they first recognized it back in 1728, and it happens every 18 and a half years.
Yeah.
So in half of the moon's 18-year cycle, 18 and a half year cycle, according to NASA, daily tides are suppressed. High tides are lower than normal, and low tides are higher than normal. That's for what, 9.3 years. But then for 9.3 years, the second half of that moon wobble, the tides are amplified, meaning the high tides get higher and the low tides get lower. So this is this super swell that's going on. Now, because we have sea level that has risen over the last 50, 60 years, that means coastal communities are going to see more extreme effects from extreme high tides when we enter that, which would be, I guess, it just started, so now we get the suppression of the tides.
Is that kind of like when they talk about the king tides?
And then, yes, maybe that's what it was from the past. Now in the mid 2030s, there.
Hold on, we got a moon wobble coming in.
So in 10 years, they're predicting that, or 10 to 15 years, they're predicting that the high tides are going to be so high that like areas are going to be inundated with this flooding in coastal communities. Now, we live in coastal communities. I mean, a lot of us do here on the Central Coast. Now,
sure, Cayucas or Morro Bay or Cambria would be the first, if you're in a Atascadero or something like that, you're
fine.
Mountain range.
Yeah, you're totally fine. And I would even argue that even the California coastal communities probably not going to be affected that much because there are mountains very close to the California coastal communities. But look at a place like Florida, where, I mean, they already have high tides coming up and gobbling cars that people thought were parked safely. I mean, this happened in Clearwater just the other day. There was a car that was parked on a causeway, and the people went for a hike. They came back. The tide came in, and it took their car out into the water.
Somebody stole our car. Yeah, what about Hawaii, too? Hawaii would be, the major. They're just, an island.
I mean, a little bit, but I think, because of the mountains, I think it helps lessen the blow. I think the highest point in Florida is up in the Panhandle. I think it's like 300 feet above sea level. I mean, you're talking about an entire state that could be affected grossly by these high tides.
Sure.
It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's happened at this point.
No, and it won't until at least the scientists, and if you trust the science.
If you do trust the science.
Follow the science.
Follow the science.
I'm following the science on this
one.
And
the science says what? In the next 9 to 18 years?
In my fears. Isn't it funny how when we follow the science, we get very scared? In our fears of following the science, and I'm like, this is kind of like if I owned a house on a bluff, I would be concerned because of these tides.
Watch the market.
The moon wobble.
Market change. People start when they get the news of the moon wobble. If it's getting, the scientists start speaking up about it. Houses are going to start popping like crazy.
Selling. Yeah, you want your oceanfront property, Jeremy? Just wait till the mid 2030s. You should be able to afford it.
Dump it.
Take care, buddy. Thanks for the call. Thanks. You bet.
93.3 KZOZ. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. Open at 6 a.m. on 93.3 KZ.